Chapter 15 King Azrael's Council. As the USS Glass Cannon had completed its construction along with the rest of Project Glass Cannon, President Ronald Jackson decided to pay Queen Sylvanas in Area 51 a visit, as he said, Well, Sylvanas. You sure finally ready to talk with your husband about his fate if he opposes us? He continually doesn't answer to my ambassadors I send to your kingdom. But I know your fairy magic grants you the ability to talk to him through his thoughts. Our scientists made sure to look into that. Queen Sylvanas then glares into President Jackson's eyes with disgust as she asks, What do you want, Peasant Jackson? Oh, I only need you to watch as Grand Admiral Jenkins gives you a demonstration of what will happen to your people if your husband decides to declare war on us, or our allies following Sorcera's defeat, or agreement to end this pointless war. President Jackson then pulls up the hologram of Grand Admiral Jenkins' bridge aboard the USS Glass Cannon in the Pleiades star cluster, hovering over the planet of the Pleiadian aliens. Then Grand Admiral Jenkins asks President Jackson, May I begin with a demonstration, Mr. President? President Jackson then answers Grand Admiral Jenkins, You may fire when ready. Then it will be done. Crewmen, set the glass cannon to 10% capacity. We don't have 6 days to waste for the purpose of this demonstration. And as the glass cannon charged his energy core, Queen Sylvanas watched with horror as the beam fired and turned half the surface of the planet Pleiades into glass, as she felt the life force of the Pleiadians being snuffed out in the terror they felt seconds before being turned to silicate ash, while President Jackson marveled. Beautiful, isn't it? A species that thought itself so great, whose life is nothing more than a vapor, will forever be forgotten to neither find happiness in this life or the next. Then they die by the hand of the species they considered unenlightened, and nothing more to them than a crop to be harvested. Now what are they who have no mouth, yet will scream forever in anguish, where the smoke of their torment will rise forever? What will their 700-year lifespan serve them, when neither their advanced technology nor craftiness could save them from the judgment that was coming for them? While Jackson monologued, Queen Sylvanas could only give a lifeless 1,000 light-year stare, while her heart still beat. Then the President whispered gently to Queen Sylvanas, I seek not the destruction of your kingdom, but if you fight us, like the Pleiadians, your kingdom will share the same fate. While King Azrael sat on his throne in philosophical thought, he could feel a disturbance in the magical realm, as if the sound of a billion voices were suddenly silenced, and a faint presence of someone close to him. King Azrael then saw a vision of Sylvanas, with a shattered heart as he said to her, Queen Sylvanas, my love, is it really you? No. It can't be. You were murdered by the Americans who care not for our livelihood, but seek to destroy us. Yet I still feel your presence, as if you were still alive with me at my side. If it really is you seeking to comfort me from the realm of the gods, seek it not. I will not be satisfied until I make the nation that killed you not even worthy to be my footstool. But before King Azrael could continue further, The vision faded away, with a tear of remorse from Sylvanus' right eye, as the dark mage Isis had entered the throne room and asked, "Your Majesty?" King Azra then looked at Isis with melancholy as he asked her, "What is it, Isis?" Isis then used her magic to summon a three-dimensional hologram made of shadows of the destruction of the Pleiades, and Titania, still alive, and said, "I have something I think you should see." Azra then asked Isis to summon the council, so she does. When the dark mage Isis had summoned the council, all of the king's counselors came except for Artemis and Edenthiel, as they were across the ocean in the confines of the Lunar Queendom. Meanwhile, Apollyon begrudgingly showed up but took notice to silently record Azriel's council meeting for Sorcerer Intelligence. Then as Dr. Kitsune joined them, he made sure to fluff his 9 tails and fox ears, while the prince of the province of the Valkyries, Prince Darius, had dressed in his royal attire and removed his crown in King Azriel's presence. Then the Minister of War, General Emilio, came in the king's presence with Princesses Lysa and Rhea of the Void Kingdom, accompanied by Emilio's royal guard. Then Isis clears her throat as everyone stands at attention with her dark magic scepter in her right hand and brass bells in the other. Then King Azrael opens up saying, "I have called you all here because it has come to my attention that Princess Titania is still alive, which threatens my reign and the livelihood of this kingdom. If she falls into the hands of the Americans or Solcerans, she will most certainly align herself with their warmongering and evil philosophies. And it will bring further concern now that the Americans have a planet-glassing superweapon. We already have visual confirmation of them destroying the planet Pleiades. It's only a matter of time until they come here." Apollyon then asks in a jovial tone while almost dancing, "Then why not grab a bottle of vodka and start celebrating, since we're all gonna die anyway, when that planet destroyer gets here?" Azra then crosses his arms and taps his foot and answers, "That's because I, for once, care about the welfare of my kingdom and subjects, and would rather they not be turned to glass by some maniacal hyperpower that thinks it's acceptable to vaporize 2 cities for a harbor, and has destroyed every kingdom on an entire hemisphere of a planet, only to replace them with inferior republics to their former kingdoms." Apollyon then takes a shot of whiskey as he replies, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think you cared with how much you've exploited your own people." Azra then strikes the marble floor with the bottom of his staff as he says, "I have no time for your silly and pathetic games, Apollyon. You are my subject in my kingdom, and start honoring your king as you ought to." Apollyon then takes a step closer to Azrael as he defiantly replies, "And how about you do something honorable for once, like being nice to Edenthiel, who for her entire time here has been kind to everyone, including your pathetic self? How about you start showing some respect to her, because she had to move out of her own kingdom to raise Titania, your own daughter, because you were too busy obsessing over your own power over other kingdoms when you should have been spent more time raising your daughter? Or what about Dr. Kitsune, who works tirelessly to make sure your daughters have the basic life skills? But no, his lessons have to be censored if they don't follow your narrative, even when they are true. On second thought, Titania's probably better off now that she's out of your control, and she can see the world really is free from your influence." King Azra then reaches for his dark magic-infused sword while Apollyon draws his revolver with the hammer cocked back and says, "Don't do it, Azrael. There's no point in pumping yourself full of lead instead of facing who you really are. Draw that magic sword and outland your reign right here and right now." Isis then stands between Azrael and Apollyon and says, "It's time for the both of you to stop. Apollyon, put away your pistol. And Azrael, sheathe your sword." Apollyon then puts his gun away as he stares into Azrael's eyes as Azrael sheathes his sword while glaring back with those dark, purple amethyst orbs, thinking to himself, "If you weren't related to your sister's noble blood, I would have you publicly executed and tortured in the most gruesome way possible in a kingdom-wide carnival atmosphere for everyone to see and celebrate. I may even name this form of execution for treason in your honor." Following the meeting with Azrael, Dr. Kitsune said to Apollyon, smiling with his fox ears perked forward, "That took guts in what you said to King Azrael. You have a lot of courage standing up to a tyrant like that." Apollyon then put his hands up and reclined and said to Dr. Kitsune, "I said what I had to. I'd rather be hated for telling the truth than be adored and it all be a lie. After all, the truth will come out sooner or later, and lying will only bury myself deeper in God knows when I'm lying. Just like the old proverb, there's nothing secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known. And like always, truth is the greatest enemy of tyrants, and God is truth, the great I Am. Therefore, tyrants have declared themselves enemies of God, and can either allow truth to flourish or be damned to failure. For where the Spirit of God is, there is liberty to live by truth, with the truth setting people free to live in the light rather than the darkness. It almost gives a perfect explanation for why the Void Kingdom and half the Lunar Queendom are such failures, given their potential because of their antagonism to truth itself, where being the enemy of God is far worse than being the enemy of Sorcerer. And because tyrants hate truth, they also hate accountability, and can't stand it. It's no wonder why they hate free speech also. Dr. Kitsune then takes a seat and opens a soda can and laughs. I guess some things never change, even sorcerers. Still acting like it's 1779 and like they just gained their independence.